Welcome to this fourth installment of Arlington Public News' backstage look at the making of Oscar Wilde's The Importance of Being Earnest. Rehearsals begin as soon as the show is cast. The process begins with table work, so named because it literally involves the cast and director sitting around a table discussing their characters' motivations and relationships. Because the show is set in 19th century England, rehearsals begin with a warm-up led by the dialect coach. Then the cast reads their lines as the director tells them where they should be when they deliver those lines. This is known as blocking.
You have a lot of time to make your circle and get down here.
I can understand.
During those first few rehearsals, the costume designer takes measurements.
A costumer is a person that takes the time, place, and elements of a script, adds what the director wants, her vision, adds a lot of research to find out what people really wore in that time period, and then comes up with a visual description of each character based on what they wear and how to accessorize them and such. And then you take what resources and budget you have to mimic that silhouette in that time period as best you can, so they can come on stage and you know exactly who they are without them saying a word.
Also on hand is the hair and makeup designer.
Hair and makeup is responsible for any of the hairstyles, wigs, falls, anything fake or real, including the color and styling of the hair. And then also the selection of the color palette for the makeup, making sure that it is in period, that it's represented on stage under the lights correctly, and that in places where it's supposed to look natural, it does, and in places where it's not supposed to look natural, it looks how the director would like it to be. Usually I meet with the costume designer first and find out what they're going to do for hats. Also talk to the director about how they're going to stage it. So if an actress or an actor is going to be predominantly stage right or stage left, then I might consider that as I'm doing the design and make sure that I part their hair appropriately and make sure it's not hanging in their face. You do a lot of research first. You have to find out, you've got to research the period, what is appropriate, what are the hairstyles, what are the techniques that you might need to learn and or do as you're building up the show design. I prefer to spend some time dedicated with the cast, about an hour to an hour and a half with each of the cast members, specifically the women, to try out their hair designs, make sure that they're going to work, make sure that we've worked through any things that look strange, and then that way, when we get to Tech Week, when we put all of it together, we've worked out a lot of the kinks already.
The cast meets for 3 hours, 4 nights a week, for 8 weeks. When they're not on stage with the director, they're in the green room helping each other learn their lines.
These aren't even my lines!
Just in case you have to understudy for Cecily.
Fair enough.
Join us next time to see the final segment and how the stage goes from this to this. But before then, be sure to see The Importance of Being Earnest, 2 weekends only, October 11th to 20th.